Presentation, press the start.
Doug Cameron, I think I see you there.
Thank you for all of you guys to join this Tuesday webinar training, and we have a special guest here. It's Brian Anderson. Type in a yes if you are the first time on my webinar, and type yes so I know a little bit which audience I have tonight. So I don't see any yeses coming in. So everybody has been on the web. Oh, I see Glennis for the first time. So let me quick introduce myself. So I'm a local marketer. I serve about 50 local businesses. And my specialty is AdWords. I know quite a bit about website conversion and AdWords. I spend about 1.4 million now in Google AdWords, and it is something that I do daily. So I know quite a bit on how to get traffic from the Google search to make an action. Tonight we have a special guest, Brian Anderson. Type in a no if you don't know Brian Anderson. Okay, I don't see any no's coming in. So Brian, you are more well known than me, I think, because somebody said yes and didn't know me.
I don't know about that, Jack, but Jack's trying to pull a fast one on us, guys. Watch this happen.
So actually, I of course I know Brian for years, but Brian didn't know me that well. Since a year ago, we met at the mansion, and so I have a picture still on my hard disk. It's not the best picture, so I put some side pictures with it.
Uh-oh, I gotta see this.
I was tired.
That was at the Marketer Mansion last year.
Yeah.
Hey, I've lost like 12 pounds since then, so I'm very happy.
Oh, that's good for you.
Yeah.
I think I need to go to the same gym.
You wouldn't like it, man. It's bad. It's bad. But no, that was cool. Jack, I just went to the second year in a row to that last week, and I liked our year better last year, although it was more professional and polished this year than the first year. But I liked being able to hang out with everybody the way we all did, and the things. Jack and I became friends at the mansion because it was a giant house, but look, there was 30 of us, so we were all around each other all the time, and it was fun. No, we had a really good time.
So Brian is a local marketer, and he said, I don't like that BS, and I don't like, kind of, how do you say that? Tell things nicer than they are. And so that attracted me because I'm the same. So I think that bounded us together, and also, we spoke about a couple of products, but Brian was asking around if somebody could help me with that, so I decided to develop those. So and this for in a business there are two things: you need to like each other, and also you need to have something that benefit each other. And I think that's in our relationship that is the case. So Brian, if you want to take the screen over to your presentation, that would be good, and I can answer questions in the background.
Yeah, let me find the presentation, and hang on, you guys, 1 second.
Is Lead Tracker Jack the same as Lead Finder Jack? No, Lead Finder Jack.
You get that question all the time.
Yeah, I know. That because both end with Jack, and now you got confused. So, Lead Finder Jack is for prospecting. You prospect businesses via emailing mainly. You can also call the numbers, but mainly you do emailing. Lead Tracker Jack is for tracking the calls. You have signed up a client, or you prospect with phone calls with round robin, and you get paid for a certain amount of calls, or for each call, or whatever what your agreement is. So I think Brian has taken over the screen, but I cannot see it from my end. What do you guys see now at the moment? Let's see.
It should be a slate, like a dark gray kind of colored screen. Let's see if they.
Okay, I see the school board.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Andre. Hey, Jim, and Jimmy too. Okay, so so Jack, let me start you guys and tell you that I try to do usually 2 info products a year, at least the last 4 years. Although the first year I did a bunch with Mario. I used to work with Mario Brown for 3 years, and we did a lot of offerings and products, kind of finding our way and finding the right home. And we worked together about 3 years, and we've since separated and, you know, remained good friends. But I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, just like Jack said, and I have been a local marketer since the mid-'90s, and today I run a company called Media Mash that focuses on automotive. And I'm doing a mix of services in the automotive space, ranging from search to social media, reputation, to lead generation with, you know, call tracking, to something called real-time bidding, like with display ads. So I'm doing like a whole series of stuff. But I also run another company that's more of a pure, I guess we can use the word SEO right now. And this company, this website is called Peachtree SEO, and in that brand we go after, you know, your typical local business, contractor, lawyers, doctors, etc. And so we kind of run them concurrently. I have a slightly different team on Peachtree SEO than I do on Media Mash, although there's a little bit of overlap. But you know, today I think the reason that Jack had asked me to come to the training call is we're doing a product, if you will, just to be clear, and then I'll tie it all into why it's so relevant, because it's a really scary time. I'm going to be honest with you. It's a very scary time in local marketing, especially if your background is search and not AdWords. So when I met Jack, he was doing heavy AdWords. He was showing me all kinds of stuff, and I mean, if you ever want to know, you know, I've seen Jack's accounts and looked at things, and this guy does serious volume, and you know, we do a little bit of AdWords, but nothing like Jack. And I'd always historically done heavy SEO for clients. You know, I actually kind of liked it. Don't ask me why, but so anyway, so along with the guy on the left, his name is Sid Michael, and the woman on the right, her name is Valerie Duval. We kind of got together to productize something that we were doing at my SEO company. And what's happening at my SEO company is it's slowly but surely not, how do I say it, not an SEO company anymore. So it's changing. And it kind of goes like this. And you guys, the first 5 or 6 slides here are just so important. So right now, the problem out there with everybody, at least in the U.S. U.S. and Canada. I can't speak to, you know, rest of the world right now on this one, but U.S. and Canada, the challenge here is this: how do you find kind of a service providing a service that you can offer to your local clients that's sustainable, it's legal, it's safe, it's easy to do, that it doesn't change every week, it doesn't break the terms of service of all these various places, and it isn't liable to be cut out, you know, Google updates or, you know, poor ROI and things like that. And it's pretty hard because for the longest time that service on a recurring basis was SEO. And honestly, I mean, I've been doing SEO, but a long time before Google. And let me tell you, SEO as I've known it since the beginning is completely dead. Completely. And you don't have to believe me yet. You'll figure it out. But we've got a couple hundred clients, and I can tell you in the last 6 weeks, we've received over 100 notifications via what's called Webmaster Tools. And that's just a way to kind of communicate with Google, vice versa, like a messaging center. They tell you stuff about your site and about your author profile, all kinds of cool stuff. And I've received over 100 of these messages calling our clients out for an unnatural link profile. Now, some of these clients I haven't built links on, you guys, in 5 years. 5 years. And what's happened is they're continuing to tune their algorithm, their formula, if you will, that decides is somebody trying to game the system or not. And it's gotten so crazy that link profiles of businesses are causing them to get flagged, and then they remove their listing. And anyway, so what we're seeing happen is the SEO model that we've all seen before, which is on-page optimization, good content on the page, optimize the content, with metadata and markup and stuff, and then with off-site, items like backlinks. That model, as we've all known it in products and people have taught, is no longer relevant. And, I don't know if anybody else is telling you guys this, but it's not. And I do know that in the spring, I heard in January or February, there's 2 guys from Australia that I follow and I enjoy speaking with. Their names are Michael Atma and David Judge. And they're going to put out kind of a roadmap to go forward in the search arena. And I've seen their outline. It's like this amazing outline. And, they run a 7-figure business there. It's pretty good. But right now, avoid any SEO-related WSO or low-cost product unless it's really painting you a road out of this, because right now it's gone. It's dead. I'd love to share more on that, but then I'd hijack the whole conversation. Now, another one, you may think social media. I mean, that's pretty hot. I mean, Facebook, everybody says social media. They really think Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. But we got Einstein here saying not everything that counts can be counted. So many people think about social media and they're like, oh yeah, it's the greatest thing ever. This is what you need. You need to get yourself some social media. And the problem is the ROI on this for a client is not very good. So let's say you're charging them $800 a month. You're probably not even going to get that for a typical local client. Let's say you're charging $400 to $500. And maybe you're outsourcing it for $200 and something, so you're not making that much money. And even though it's pretty cool, it's not generating in the short term, right? In the first 90 days, it's not really generating an ROI on their investment. If they're not willing to stay the course for the long term, because in the long term it's great, but most of these clients won't stick with you unless you're really, really good. And because of that, social media just doesn't seem to work with your typical client. Now, larger clients who can invest, it's still awesome. All right, reputation. There's a lot of guys. There's some thought leaders out there like David Sprague, and there's a few other ones, right? They have software tooling, and they're pretty smart guys. But my challenge with reputation is, you got all the filtering like at Yelp. I mean, this little funny graphic. I'm talking about businesses with all the 5-star reviews that are filtered. No matter what you do, it's pretty hard to influence the reputation score without an active participation from the client. And most of those people aren't very good at participating. And then what happens in many cases is the only way to really get quick results with reputation is to break the terms of service of like Google or Yelp and sites like that. And if you don't break the terms of service, let's say you're really good and you put systems in place, it's a slow ROI. Who on the call thinks you can drive 200 or 300 calls a month in the first 90 days because you're working on their reputation? Anybody thinking that? So you can't, in case you're wondering. That was rhetorical, but I promise you, you just can't do it. And it's still useful, just like social media. It's very useful. But let's be honest with each other. If one of us hired Jack, and we like him, he sure seems smart as heck, right? And we hire him to do reputation management and social media. In 90 days, Jack may have made amazing strides towards success in those areas, but he probably hasn't generated what the business really wants, which is inbound calls or leads or new sales, really. At the end of the day, they want new sales, but they'll have to settle with calls and leads and foot traffic. So that's kind of reputation.
Let me put my opinion to it.
Yeah.
I think if you have a very bad reputation on the internet, it will reduce the amount of calls which you would have generated with any other traffic, let's say with SEO or with social media or with Google AdWords. If you have a bad reputation, that would reduce the calls. But if you only have a good reputation but nobody is finding you on the internet, then it doesn't help. So it isn't. I think it's a good thing to have a good reputation, but on itself it will not generate success.
Yep, it is a good thing, and I'm a fan. I mean, I'm selling it. I sold this one franchise. Now, unlike the guys that are talking about $1,000 a month and stuff for it, I sold it at $1.25. And because all I'm doing is putting a little portal system in place, and it was add-on revenue for me for each location. So the other one is probably mobile that a lot of you guys are doing. And, in this area, if we're honest with each other, right, if we can be really honest, mobile websites are not going to generate you lots of calls in business in the first 90 days. They're going to help you. They're the right thing to do. Absolutely. SMS, if you have an existing list or you can build one in the restaurant space, that'll generate revenue for the client. That's not a bad one. That's fairly good. But it's probably the only one of all of these that has a chance of generating real tangible results in the short term. So since we just kind of shot everything down, the reality is I need, at least on my quote-unquote local client business, not my car dealer business, but I need easy, I think like most of us, something that's easy, something that scales, so if you get 50 clients, you can still do it just like you could when you had one or two. Something that can be duplicable so that you can do the same thing over and over again for the different clients. And something that's safe, and I only bring the safe up is there are so many people I'm talking to that are getting hammered on the SEO side. And if you're not that close or you don't have lots of clients, the SEO side is a rough place to be right now. I've got like 10 client meetings in the next 7 days, all explaining what the heck's going on and what we're doing to fix it. It's not a fun conversation. But the last one is what we need is easy to outsource, because everybody here probably wouldn't mind fulfilling one or two clients they have at first to keep their profit high. But after a while, we all want to just have somebody else do it, right? And we want to build that as a cost of doing business. And if we generate, $1,000 and we spend $250 on outsourcing, then we net $750 and we call it a day. And we have a much better life than if we tried to do that for tons and tons of clients. And that's kind of what I've seen for a long time, what we need. Now, I've got some screenshots. This is out of Jack Software. This is my younger brother's company. I don't know how old he is. He's 40, and he has an AC company, heating and air, in the panhandle of Florida. It's about 300,000 or 400,000 people in his market. And we did a campaign in May around generating leads for his business to sell more air conditioners, right? We were trying to tap into a new market we'd never really done for his business. And let me tell you, in 1 month, driving 82 calls, and they weren't all good calls. I'd love to tell you they were, but they weren't all perfect calls. But you see that one right there. It was 526 seconds on the screenshot. That's not bad. What is that? A bunch of minutes, 8 minutes, something like that, almost 9. We generated a bunch of calls, and he sold $30,000 odd of new units. Now, there's a hook and a trick to it, right? But I guess the positive is I can tell you that having done his SEO, social media, and reputation since he started in business 4 or 5 years ago, I don't know if I've ever generated 82 calls to him that resulted in all those sales. I couldn't quantify it because I wasn't tracking it, right? Because I was too worried about the local SEO factors about having the same phone number everywhere and stuff. I'm sure I drove a decent amount of calls to him, but I'm willing to bet at the beginning when I started with him, I sure as heck didn't do 82 calls. And when you look at it, you see some spikes. We made some mistakes in terms of consistency. We learned some things here for sure. But what else? So here's one. This is one of the guys in our group. It's not my client, but it's a landscaping company. And rather than just show you clients with, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of calls a month, I thought we'd show a kind of a realistic one. Here's roughly 40 calls a month spread out from mid-April through the just the other day, I think yesterday, right, 12/16. So over 8 months, roughly 40 calls a month for this landscaper. Pretty cool. And you know what's interesting, Jack, is remind me, yeah, red is unanswered, right? So when I look at this, I'm thinking, man, round robin feature, have 3 landscapers and share the leads, right?
Yes.
I mean, this is a case study in why you want to have the round robin, guys. It's crazy.
I'm not sure if everybody knows what round robin is, but with round robin you can tell a system how you want to have handled the call. You can either split the calls to several businesses, or you can prioritize the call. If one business doesn't pick up the call, it can be forwarded to another business. Or you can limit the calls. You can say, I want 5 calls to business 1, but the 6th call I want this business 2 because they only can handle 5 calls a day. So there are all kind of possibilities what you can do within Lead Tracker Jack with those calls.
Nice. So the neat thing is we've got tons and tons more, and we use, I actually have 3 tracking platforms. So I have some clients in this one, some in one of 2 others, and it's just, at the end of the day, there's core features you want, and so features like that round robin are critical. Obviously, base features like record and track the calls, right, and being able to play back, those are great. Whisper call, things like that. But what you really want is to stop leakage, like profit leakage like this. You look at this and you think, man, if I could have just got paid on all the unanswered calls, because most people charge on delivered calls over a certain amount of time as opposed to total calls generated. So I thought that was interesting, you guys. And I've got a bunch of examples like this, but the whole idea is things like this, when the business owner hears 3, 4, 5 times a day, call from Jack. New call from Jack. New call from Jack. And you start to hear that every day, they're pretty happy when they get your bill, right? I don't want to say that they just love paying you, but they're not frustrated to all get out, right? And you're able to demonstrate value for these guys, unlike you can. I'm not saying none of us, aren't working very hard with SEO or social or rep or mobile, but the way when you can show value when everything's so trackable, whether it's visits to a landing page like Jack teaches with, AdWords and call tracking, or it's the number of calls, the duration, recordings, how many answered, unanswered. You have all these metrics. It makes it really cool. So at the beginning of the year, we started doing this thing that eventually we at first, and I'm going to tell you guys more here than I'm telling anybody else. So I'm going to tell you more about this here than I'm going to do anywhere. We had this whole system around directory sites, around Craigslist, Backpage, places like that. And we eventually called it Local Lead Driver. Now, I will tell you that I did not think up that super cool name. That was Sid Michael thought it up. And Sid's an ex-car guy. And I thought it had something to do with golf, with like a driver. And he's like, no, man, I'm talking about a car. And I'm like, okay. And so we came up with this product to simplify. At first, we were just thinking automotive. And what we were doing is, the way we started it is, and this is completely not the point of tonight, but the way we started is we would take dealerships' inventory in like a CSV file, and we would syndicate those out on different directory sites, eBay, places like that, with tracking numbers that are specific to each source, and then what we in different ads, and we would then track how many calls were generated. That's kind of what we started. Then we did a lot of contractors, you name it, roofers. We did, hang on a second, I think I got another screenshot probably here. We did roofers. Let's see. I think plumbers. All the kinds of business that you would think about. Here's a handyman. This is, how long is that, Jack? That's 2 months. So this is also in your software, Jack. This is 2 months. It's a handyman north of Atlanta, about 50, 60 miles, just outside the greater city limits. They probably get some trickle down, you know, in the northern suburbs and so forth. But that's 70 calls a month with the handyman. And let's see. And I'm looking. You know what? Sid is not here. I see somebody asking about Rocket Mail. You know what? If you shoot me a message or something, I'll get that to him, or I'll grab it at the end of the call. I see a comment to him, so it's just me. It's just Brian. So on this call here, the same thing. Look at these unanswered calls. More leakage. Not as bad though as before. So this is a handyman niche. 70 plus calls a month. That's not a bad day. Here's some other stuff. What is this, Jack? This is I'm just showing you guys some results, right? Because too many people just hawk a lot of crap that they've never actually used. And we use it. Jack knows. He sees our stuff. The Joker bills me. So let me tell you. So here's a roofer, 329 calls. And I'm sorry I don't have the duration of this. I think this is the length of the campaign for that roofer. The landscaper, 304. The plumber, 200. A different plumber, 200. An AC company, the handyman. Here's a lawyer in Orlando. Don't call them, please. Here's another AC company with 87 calls, right?
So guys, do you also see the amount of calls and amount of minutes? And if you make that equation, it's about 3 minutes at average, 3-4 minutes. So that gives me a good idea that those are good valid calls and not only asking for directions.
Yeah, good point, Jack. Yeah, that's a very good point. Now let me see. I just went in my email. You know, it really helps me. I think this is the handyman. Let me see which one this is. This is yeah, this is definitely the handyman. This clown with the unanswered. So I need more handymen in this market. You can see the calls by day. So if you look on December 9th. If you got 20 calls that were answered and 10 that weren't, that means they got 30 calls that day. That's a lot of calls. Are they all perfect? No, by no means. Let's see. Look at the next day, the 10th. Roughly 10 answered and 4 unanswered, and you can see it. The 13th was good, almost 20 answered and only maybe 1 or 2 not answered, same as the 16th. So the point of all that is we're generating a lot of calls. We're working pretty hard on this, and we surely believe that anybody can do this. Let me see. Let's see if I got something else that's cool. Got one more. Let me show you one other one. You know what? And this one is in another tracking system we have. I just trying to show you reality, right? This is just how it works. This one I got 99 calls in a week for one of our mechanics. 55 in Dallas, same thing, same industry, a mechanic, mobile mechanic in that case. You see the AC, the plumber, and the car place. So not bad, right? So we're kind of walking the walk. We're backing it up. And we're generating real business, real calls. So a wide variety of industries, I mean, you name it. And so I got together with Sid and with Valerie Duvall, and I said, we got to package this thing up because I hear all the time, like I've got a fairly large list, and I try to be interactive with people, and we chat, and we get on the phone. You name it. Like tomorrow I've got 2 one-on-ones with people on our list that we're trying to help them just get off the ground and get up and running, right? And so many people are banging their head against some of the doors that seemingly are closed right now when you can take Jack's software, you can take his AdWords strategy for sure, but you could also take this super simple free strategy that we use with all the international directory sites, all the big names like Craigslist, Backpage, and a couple others, and you could do our strategy there using Jack's system, generate calls, and then those calls have an intrinsic value, and we do some cool ads. We do text, we do hybrid text and graphic, and some are only graphic. And here's one for a plumber. And what else? Here's one for an AC company. And all we're doing is capitalizing on this torrent of traffic. And we've got a simple system. It's sure in rocket science. But my favorite part about it is it's easy. Everybody on this call can do it, right? So that's our module 1. It's just kind of a walkthrough on what we have. Very simple. I mean, module's a bit much. This is been internet marketized. It really is section 1, right? And we go over the whole thing. Module 2, if you will, is the meat. This is all the, if you just want to cut through the fluff, just go to module 2. This is where it's all at. And this is step-by-step examples. And, the only thing you need outside of our system is something that I think all of you already have, which is a call tracking product. Module 3 is on our outsourcers. So we give you, it's like 6 slides. Sid delivers it. We give you the 2 people we use. We give you the one that we actually use as a primary, and then our backup in a different niche. And it's pretty easy. They're U.S.-based. Talk to them on the phone if you want, or you can email with them. And lots of references and examples. And we do. I go over pricing and how to price this stuff, right? How to make it make sense and how to make money out of it, especially when you're trying to account for possibly paying an outsourcer. So you got to build that in. We go over the 3 models that we use to price in different scenarios. Sid, who's a much better salesperson than, say, Jack and I, he gives training in Module 5 with Valerie kind of leading him, interviewing him. He's like a 20-year sales veteran of the automotive industry, former general manager, and he gets all into generating new deals with this strategy. And same thing, Module 6, it's him just handling objections, how to deal with the BS excuses that the prospect flows at you, and to try to get the negotiation to the point where you actually get more deals than you lose. We do a couple bonuses. So I actually do this, and we go into some examples, a little more depth than we did here. Like we look at the use case, the why, the after effects, stuff like that. What do we do? And you can actually use them as references if you need them. You can use the slides and material as examples. So that's kind of cool. And then a real neat one is we include another bonus that Valerie set up with one of our students in Orlando. This guy is phenomenal. I have Val basically grill him on all the questions you really want to ask. This is one of like a core components of his business. I want to say we got him doing this in January or February. He and I, funny enough, Jack, we were in this weight loss group in January coming out of last Christmas. This guy lost, I kid you not, 45 pounds in roughly a month and a half. He went on a juicing diet, and he's kept it off. So just an amazing guy, to hear speak. And he's just a normal Joe. I mean, well, he's a Frank, but he's a normal guy, and you talk to him, and he's super nice, family guy, daughters and stuff, and he's down in Central Florida, a little bit north of you, and go into that in some level of detail. And that's it for the course. I mean, there's not a lot of stuff to it. I mean, it's quite simple. We teach you what we're doing. You can probably pick it up. It's under $20. You can probably pick it up in, I would guess, 2 hours, maybe tops. 2 hours, you could master it, if you will, the basic concepts. You could probably be generating leads. And if you have clients right now, maybe you sold them SEO and you're thinking, oh my God, I got to get more phone calls. They're going to shoot me. Or social media or something else. You can lay this in and your eyes are going to light up, right? But if you don't have clients, you can use this strategy. You can land new clients, and you can do it on a per lead model and generate money. I mean, it's pretty good because the beauty is you control the asset. The traffic source is free, unlike our favorite AdWords or display or other sources. So it's free. You got to comply with a few rules, but if you follow kind of what we do, it works. I mean, am I going to tell you you're going to make $1 million? No. Will you reasonably make $400 to $2,000 per deal once you get going? Yes. I mean, that's the reality. And is some markets better than other markets? Yes. Right? If you're in a town of like 700, is this going to work in your town? No. If you're in a town of 100,000, yes. Yep, we got a bunch of examples in smaller markets. You know, bigger population is typically better. Same as most things on the internet. But this is kind of our path forward with clients on a local level that are below our target niche. Like our automotive clients we go after are 3,000 to 10,000 and up a month in revenue, but it's lots of services. At the same time, we've got a somewhat competent team, and you don't have to be, you know, any high school high school junior or senior probably could implement this. Not hard to do, and that's what we do. We do this in a whole wide variety of niches, and I mean basically any contractor you can think of, lawyers, some doctors, no chiropractors or dentists. That one comes up all the time, but we have never gotten success in that area. And so we do this, and at the end of the day, the phone rings. If they, you know, Jack, you've taught on this a million times, I know, but if you can generate 100 phone calls for the client, they're going to be pretty happy. You know, and if you said, I don't know, what if you said out of those 100 calls, 25% were garbage, so now you're at 75, and maybe they closed, you know, I don't know, 20% of that. So maybe that's 15 new clients, depending on their niche. It's that easy. This is one that I think you'd like. So let's see. You know, here's a question I saw, Jack, in there from Andre. It's a good point, Andre. Is I actually, depending on your market, the written ads sometimes perform better than the graphical ads. And you know why? Is most of the people that shop on these kind of high volume, high traffic directory sites, if you will, are always looking for a deal. And if your stuff looks super professional, too big company-ish, it's usually a turnoff because they often feel like you're too expensive for them, and you're just not going to make sense. So, no, this I see somebody asking, is this a replacement of Lead Tracker? No, not at all. This is just a strategy that we use in our business with our clients to generate phone calls, and we use the Call Tracker Jack system, amongst others, to record, to route, and to help us bill and, you know, deliver value to the client. So somebody asked about the Savage Siphon product. The interesting thing about Savage Siphon is we use that a lot in the automotive space and in legal. That is a strategy to use direct mail to land clients. This strategy is all about, like, if you saw on the charts, this was, I think Marketer asked this, if you saw on the chart, this is all about phone calls, right? It's all about delivering an immediate ROI. So with Savage Siphon, you may send out these cool mailings and bank bags and compasses and all this kind of neat stuff we do. And what happens is you'll get callbacks and you can work on closing deals. But then you got to sell them something, right? You got to have something to sell them. Depending on the niche, this may be a good thing to sell them. It may not be. It just depends on the niche. This is a fulfillment strategy that you can do. Everybody on this call, a bunch of people here, all of you can do it. You don't have to be a PPC guru. For those of you that are less technical than the rest, you can do this in confidence. I guarantee it. Honestly, you could outsource it. It's easy and it's inexpensive to outsource. It's legal. It's compliant, provided you do it right. It's just tapping into traffic. And in this case, the traffic's free. So you can tap into AdWords. You just have to pay for the AdWords. That's all. I don't do any PPC on this one, John. And you guys, yes, they're. Let me be real transparent. I saw John asked if there's an OTO. So the way we set it up, we were going to sell the thing on webinars, because I like webinar products because you can talk to people, answer their questions, share stuff. But we set it up. The whole product's contained in the front end. It's $17. And the only thing that's in the OTO, it's truly optional. You know how sometimes you get an OTO that if you don't buy the OTO, you have no chance of succeeding? We've all seen it. This is not the case. In the OTO, all we did is make 100 and some odd ads available for you. But by no means am I here to tell you that my ads are the only ads. Please know that. And somebody asked a few minutes ago, I don't remember who it was, Andre or somebody, that you could just use text ads. Now, I share a ton of graphical ads in a diverse group of niches that we work in. Like Septic Tank, it's a really good one, and some of the ads are funny. And then the other thing is we share our contract in there, but we also share, what else do we share? We do a webinar with one of our outsource, like the guy that owns the outsourcing company we use. His, all right, I'll keep this one on the down low. I won't name this guy's name, but he's got a close friend that is a close family member, you may say, that works at one of these large companies that begins with a C, and he's got a lot of insight into how to be compliant, how to generate maximum results, time of day, what to do, what not to do, all the kind of things that you want to maximize your results. He's got a lot of knowledge. So we put that in an OTO. Does it mean you have to buy it? No. I mean, would we like you to? Sure, but only if it makes sense. There's none of the price going up every sale crap. It's the same price today as it's going to be tomorrow. So, and if you didn't buy the OTO, you can buy it after you're a member if you so choose. So there's no arm twisting. Yeah, John, when I said 400 to 2,000, John, here's what I'm talking about. If you're charging, 15, 20 bucks a lead, and you're consistently generating those calls, and the business is paying you for those calls, then that would be monthly. It's recurring based on the volume of calls you generate. So I use that as a good range that you can expect to be in depending on niche, city, your consistency, and other things. So yeah, the answer is yes, but obviously it's a catch. Yes, Stephen, it does. There's some tweaks, but Stephen asked about in Asia. Like for instance, in Canada, we really downplay Craigslist. It's of very little value in Canada. We use a different traffic strategy there. Rest of the world, Craigslist works fairly well in Asia, though, Stephen, in Singapore. Yeah, hey, Thomas. Yeah, it is. It's the strategy behind this is using text, graphical, and hybrid ads to generate calls on classified sites, directory sites, those that sort of traffic that has a large built-in volume that doesn't cost anything, that you can actually generate a fairly high volume. So you can do cool stuff. And yeah, Stephen brings up, like for instance on Craigslist, there's often a lot of spam. There is, but there's a lot of shoppers. I had one car dealership last month that sold 40 cars from our Craigslist only advertising. 40 cars. It's a used car dealership. Most of their inventory is 2,000 to 10,000, and they're up in North Georgia. We're generating for these guys hundreds of calls a month. It's pretty easy, right, when you're just posting their inventory online. Now, that model shifted a little bit, but, just like with SEO or anything else, there's good and bad. Is every caller a good lead? No. Like, I do things like if the call isn't at least 30 seconds, I don't even really charge them. So, something to think about. Under 100,000, Paul Facey, I don't think I'd really target it. I think you could test it, but I just think there's so many areas that are slightly bigger that I think you could go after and probably get better results. You don't need to be local, and you don't need to meet somebody to close this service. You can easily do it on the phone. Some of you may pull it off through email, but I find the phone to be a little easier. I mean, that's just me, though. Yeah, Alex, I think Jack's recording. So, yeah, Stephen, I was just talking about the OTO. It's the same price. It's also $17. It's truly optional. Like, and I actually mean that. Not there's like I said a minute ago. Sometimes you just sort of have to buy it, or you have no value on the front end. It's not really the case here. It adds a little bit to it, but I think you could be quite effective without it. Straight up. Let's see. Yeah, Junior. Hey, Junior, man. I haven't talked to you in a while, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Junior Latchman, Orlando, Florida. Junior, you're right. A lot of the shoppers on like a site like a Craigslist, a Backpage, a Kijiji, these kind of sites, right? They're looking for a more personal, intimate ad that doesn't seem like it's this big fancy company that's going to charge them a lot of money. When they want a service, they're definitely price shopping, or they're shopping on other kind of key features, and it's a unique buyer, so you have to know how to do the ads in a way to exploit that target market. So one of the things I didn't actually mention in this presentation is I hesitate to say this. You're probably going to shoot me through the Q&A box, but we created like a Facebook group where we got, I don't know, there's a few hundred people in there today, 500-600 people that we're going to share out. Like I share all kind of pricing ideas in there. We're sharing out strategies by niche, what niches are working, which ones aren't, which ones pay the most. I shared some pricing on Home Advisor and stuff. Let's see, Stephen, we did your question. Yeah, actually I do. Somebody is asking if I had an affiliate referral program for my local business. I do two models. I do a 5% referral if someone just drops me a name and then we close the client and bill them. We just pay you 5% recurring. We do 10% if you're a little more involved. And then we've done some hybrids of that, but we definitely do that. Hey Jane, yeah, it does work in the UK. We haven't talked about that, but it does work in the UK, and we've also used it in Spain. I'm trying to think of where else we've done this. France, and it's not all me, you guys. Australia, if anybody from Australia, and Brisbane and Sydney in particular that I know about. So yeah, it does. It's Jack, what are the limitations on tracking in some of these? Are those countries covered under your tracking product? Jack maybe muted you guys. Let me skip for a second.
Okay, sorry, I was muted because people could hear my typing.
So it is. I saw that question. Yeah.
It is covered in most countries, but I think the person who asked, it was not covered in that country. So let me put in the link for the offer if they like to check it out.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Thanks, Jack. Why don't I? I'm going to make you presenter for a second. Hang on. Let me hand it over to you. And make presenter. And while you're doing that, let me answer a question while you're doing that. I saw somebody ask, this is a really good question. This was specifically about Craigslist. I saw John, who I've talked to on many calls, but he asked, is there really any valid Craigslist-specific posting software? So inside the Craigslist terms of service, there is a line, there's a clause that says you can't use automated software to post. Now, there are softwares out there that make the process easier by allowing you to speed up your manual posting, right? But in general, I would say the honest answer to that is probably no. I would say that Craigslist posting software is kind of like SEO link building software, a bit on the gray side. Here's a good question from Steven. So Steven asked about call tracking, and do you need call tracking numbers? I think that's the absolute most important thing you do need, because it allows you to have, undisputed proof on the quantity and quality of calls like Jack hinted at earlier, and you can compute an ROI for the business. Unlike most other things that we all do, you can track this down and nail the value down for them. If you just stay at a number of calls level, that's great, but you can also translate it if they do a good job on their end to how many deals they get. We got a roofer in Atlanta. Now, he's not killing it. He's getting like 30 or 40 calls a month. I mean, does that mean, is he knocking it out of the park? No. But that's in the winter. And, it's cold right now. Not a lot of people are doing roofs at this time of year. But guess what? It's keeping his staff, on payroll. It's keeping his doors open. And it's his most viable marketing channel. But how do I bill him and how do I show him results, Stephen? We show him the actual call reporting, and every now and then he listens to some calls.
So, Brian, the product is not out for 2 hours, and you got already great testimonials.
We do?
Yeah. Paul Fassé, I hope I say it well. I bought it through Jack's link, and I must attest that the course is very short and to the point, no fluff, and the sales, pricing, and objection handling along is worth way more. I've just put it in there.
No, thanks, Paul. Who handled that is I did the pricing, but kudos to Sid. He's actually out Christmas shopping for his family. But I'm telling you, I promise you, if you have a chance, not my webinars, attend Sid's. If you have time around sales and objections and that kind of strategy, because it truly is an art that most of us aren't really specialized at, right? And like Paul, he's awesome. No, I appreciate that, and he's such a good guy. You guys, the OTO price is also $17. There's no escalation of the price. You don't have to buy the OTO. Please know that. If you do buy it, it should only be because you want it and you see value. If you don't, please don't buy it. And most people won't tell you that, but if you don't think you really need it, then skip it because you can always buy it later. Okay? I just want you to know that. So, all right. Yeah, John Thomas. We use John Thomas was asking about, if not PPC, how do you really generate all the traffic? And John, yeah, I must not have hit it, right? What we're doing is we're tapping into sites like Craigslist, Kijiji, Backpage, and others to systematically post ads at different times of the day using tracking numbers, for instance, from Jack's software, from Call Tracker Jack, and then that generates the inbound calls. So that's where the leads come from. And Keith, I know for sure that it does work with locksmiths. Let's see. Yeah, Richard, it's a good question. We talked about the. I think it was Steven that asked about the quality of these leads. You could give clients leads of people making $1 million or more, driving Porsches and Ferraris, right? And they would still complain. So the answer to your question is probably yes. Do clients complain about the quality of their leads? You know why the clients complain? Just because that's their job in this equation. They're always going to complain. Now, they're not that mad because if you say, hey, well, I'll take the 340 calls and I'll direct it to somebody else. I promise you they don't want you to go away. They're still going to bust your chops, but you just sort of have to roll. You just got to roll with it. Yeah, I would say marketer asked, how much time a day once you learn the system? Let's see, marketer, it's 9 o'clock Eastern, just shy of 9. I think you could have the system down by 11, and I think by, sometime tomorrow afternoon you could be generating calls, and I think you could spend realistically, let's say you were in 2 or 3 niches, 30 minutes a day. Some of us spend a little bit more. I actually chose to outsource it, but you absolutely don't have to. The guy that I use is a U.S.-based guy in Atlanta, and there's another guy in Birmingham, Alabama, and I put their contact information in there. I don't want to be a middleman or an affiliate or any of that crap. I'd rather you just get the same price I get, so you can check it out. Yeah, so the point is when you generate these leads, you want to sell these leads. Like somebody who asked about the locksmith, Keith, the idea is you'd say, you would hit them on a model, Keith, I'm going to generate X amount of leads per month. Here's our fee. And now we price our leads by looking at what the competition charges, and we just charge less. I look at what ServiceMagic Home Advisor, right, depending on what name you want to use for them, what they charge for their shared lead, and then I give somebody for $1 or $2 less, I give them exclusive. That's kind of what I usually do. I do charge for unanswered calls in some niches, John. It's such a good question. And in most, though, I don't. I mean, the whole idea is that if you had 2 clients in the same niche, as Jack explained earlier, you would use his round robin, and you'd use that round robin feature to go out and make sure that there are no unanswered calls because it would go to the other company. Let's see. I'm looking. Let's see. Marketer. Let me go back. He asked, "Can you go over the modules again?" So, really, I can just let me just say them out loud, Marketer. So there was kind of an introduction in setting the stage. Then we go into a lot of meat in Module 2. You know, it's probably where you're going to get the most value. And then Module 3 as well. Module 3, there's like 5 or 6 slides. Sid delivers it. We basically talk to you about our outsourcers, pricing. We give you contact information. And in truth, you don't need to outsource this. It is that easy. Anybody can do it. If you can use any of Jack's software, this is 10 times easier, I promise. Jack's stuff's amazing, but it has all these features and stuff, right? Everybody here can use Jack's software. It's very easy to use, right? With these kind of sites, it takes like 15 minutes. I mean, I think honestly, I could probably get my 12-year-old to do it if I taught her. It's pretty easy.
So let me put the link from Lead Track Jack. It's not a sales page, it's just a sign up page. So it also has the various pricing on and the options. So if you are interested to check that out, I'm not here to sell it, but I got about 5 questions now.
Oh yeah, no, Jack, you're right. And you guys, there's no push on this at all. If it doesn't sound, here's a perfect person right here, and I'm gonna read. If you don't mind, John, I'm gonna read this out loud. John Thomas just wrote, "So you're saying that I can generate client leads at no cost to me," and then he goes on to say, "Can I do this part-time while I have my full-time job?" Yes. And here's why. John, you do have to land the client on the front end, and we're not going to solve that on tonight's call. Assuming you land a client or 2, imagine if your upfront price was 0 and they just paid for results. Not that hard. While you have a full-time job, can you take 15 minutes a day, twice a day, and do a task, or could you outsource that task? Yes. And then what will happen is you don't need to do anything else. Jack's software in this case will track the calls, right? Jack's software will track the calls, and then as a result, you'll have a log of all the ROI you brought that business for the money. You'll be able to show them the results. So, let's see.
So Jim just put another testimonial about you and Sid, so I want to show people who haven't experienced you know, that much. Thanks, Jim.
Oh, yeah. No, thanks. Here's a comment. Jay Munns, I see this, made a post. He asked a concrete person today, so a business that supplies concrete, how much Home Advisor Service Magic charges per lead. He said $17, and guess what? Yes, he complained about those leads. So, let's see. Rick, yeah, Rick, I'm detoxing right now. Let me tell you, spending a week in Vegas, you guys, last week with a bunch of pure internet marketers, most of which who are younger than me and don't have kids and go out until 4 a.m. every night. I definitely had a few drinks, but yeah, Andre, I do hire someone to do the posting. I hire my guy to do the ad creation, the subject lines, and the posting, and the split testing. I get him to do all that. You want to be totally honest on the call? Actually, I don't really do anything other than deliver the clients. And then I have this person on the back end who has been very trusted. I actually have done both, Thomas. Thomas asked, do you get the clients first, or is it better to set up the system and then find clients? You can do that either way. Jack, have you thought about that before? Is there one better than the other in your mind?
Let's say how what I feel about it. Within Lead Tracker Jack, you can buy a client for $1.99, and quite a lot of people have taken that up for $1.99. I don't think Brian knows that we
No,
offer
I
that.
didn't know about it. You got to tell me about it. It sounds awesome.
So for $199 you are in business, and for $17 you generate the calls. So within 2 weeks you can be in business.
So wait a minute, Jack. So $199. You'll use Lead Tracker Jack to give somebody a client?
Within Lead I'm hooked up with how do you call that? A telemarketer. And you can select a couple of niches. And so like plumber, AC repair, roof, I think. I have to go back. And we charge $1.99, I think $1.79 for that. And we deliver a real client. So there's no cold calling or effort from your place. The only effort what is from your getting asked for you is to generate those leads, those calls. And if you're going to use Brian's system for that, it doesn't take you that much effort.
Wow, man, I might sign up for 10 or 20, man. That's awesome. Okay, I got to talk to you later on that.
Yeah.
Yes, Melsina, I think. I want to say you were from Oklahoma at the beginning, if I remember, because you were talking about the weather. The price will be the same tomorrow as it is today. So there is no super secret strategy that the price will go up a penny every sale or something like that. Let's see. We talked about outsourcing, Andre, and Thomas. It's up to you. You can get them to pay in advance. A lot of people do, or you can price per, how do I say it? You can price per lead that meets a certain criteria, and then I like to bill weekly because I tell you it gets expensive. It gets quite expensive if you if you bill monthly and the client blows you off and you didn't have any upfront money, right? You got to be careful. So
if you are logged in the call tracking portal in Lead Tracker Jack, there's a button, Hot Clients. You click on that, and there are certain categories where you can order a client.
It's the greatest thing ever, Jack. I love it.
So
all right, Jack.
So
I'll tell you a good one. Let's
so
look at
even
this.
Handyman,
Handyman's an awesome one. Handyman, yeah.
So there's so much in. So I got an hour ago. I got a question about training material. So if you go to help, there's Freegezel's question, tutorials, a manual, and a support link. So everything is there. And if you go, every menu has on the right hand side help section. You know, the help section here. I don't know if you can see that. There's a help section here. So everything is inside the call portal, and we continuously improving the interface. So we just implemented, you know, this layout. So it's to my belief there is no easy to use system, and also not more affordable. And I know the last one for sure.
Nice. Well, I love that client concept. I've never seen it. It's such a smart idea.
There's nothing similar to that.
Yeah, it's awesome, you guys. If you have any doubt, I promise you that is super, super cool.
So I want to go back to your offer, Brian, and I didn't discuss it yet, but I have 2 bonuses, and I don't know why it's giving you a spelling error. Do you see a spelling error here? So
nope.
So,
it's probably an extra space after the G of training. If you get rid of one of the
Oh,
two spaces there.
there are 2 times screening.
Yeah.
That's now I see it. So there are 2 training sessions which you need to have anyway, and this is about Gmail, how to use Gmail, and it's all 20 videos. I think what I see with my members, Gmail is very popular, so it looks like everybody has a Gmail account or should have checked it out. So now with as bonus you get 20 videos, and also about Google Analytics. So those are the base training what everybody needs to have, in my opinion. And everybody needs to go spend an hour at least on it, or 2 hours, to master those basics. So I just bought those rights, and I need to put them on a training website. So give me a day, because I got those ideas always the last hour, and when the pressure is high, I perform the best. So I came up with those ideas, and I will set it up tomorrow. So I already have the material, but I have to put it together so you can view those videos, those training videos. And I guarantee those, I know, I like Brian stuff, okay? Locally it is very good, and the $17 is underpriced. But if you think, I cannot use it because it's not from a country, or or whatever your reason is, this is much more worth than $17, my bonus.
Yeah, your bonus is quite valuable. But the other thing is, you guys, I would advise you to, those of you that have a job and don't have time, I would seriously check out Jack's offer on the $199 thing, because some of those niches are hot, like handyman and mechanic. They just generate so many calls, you guys. I mean, hundreds and hundreds. So, anyway, wow, cool. Here's a good comment I saw, Jack, from John Utz. John says he bills every Sunday night, auto pay via PayPal, a retainer of $250 up front. Wow, man, listen to all you guys kicking ass on the weight loss. John is down 25 pounds since August 10th. So that is phenomenal. Wants to drop another 25 by April 1st. So
wow.
Hey, congrats, John. Someone else said I didn't lose any weight, but I did quit smoking.
John, you need to post a picture on Facebook, before and after.
You know what? Hey, Jack, will you I know a lot of people are asking, and you may not see them, Tony and a few others. So basically, let me net it out. They pay $199. Your telemarketing team will generate them a client for, what are they selling the client on? What do they get for the $199, I think is what Tony's asking.
Each call, the client will pay $35 for each call, for each valid call.
Okay, and then there's some criteria on what a valid call is, but $35 is great. Does it vary a little bit by niche or no?
That is the minimum we ask. That's the minimum we will deliver. So that is our strategy. In the beginning, those business, they have a bad experience with in the past, with SEO, whatever it is. But every business owners, there might be a couple on this call, they are willing to pay for clients. They have no problems to pay for it, as long as they see an ROI. They know how much they make at average for each client. So if you say, I charge you only $35 for a valid call, does it work for you? And it is an easy sell for the telemarketer. The next step you want to do is, so we hand over that business owner to you, and you can work with that business owners to generate those calls. Eventually, and that is where I'm working on, and I'm pretty successful so far, is instead of I'm paying per call, I let them charge a percentage of the sale. So they also are willing to do that. For if they do roofer or AC repair or plumber, they have about between the $500 and the $5,000 on invoices, and they are willing to pay 10% for the marketing, you know. So now instead of you get $35 for the call, you get $50 to $500 for the call. Once you do that for a certain amount of time, you're going to say, hey, all those tracking is a little bit complicated. I have steady bring you business in. Let's agree on a fixed amount per month. In the last 3 months, you know, you pay me $2,000. Let that just set a price, and if things doesn't change, you just pay me $2,000 a month. And I think that is the situation you want to be in. So not discussing is this a valid call or not valid call, and you know, you spend a certain amount of money, let's say $200 for generate the call, and you get paid $2,000. Does it make sense?
It does. That's pretty cool. I like it. Yeah, I'm gonna hook up with you maybe in the next few days and sign up for a couple. I mean, that's pretty awesome. I'll document that too, man. That would be outstanding. And you can pick from the niches in your drop down, huh?
Yes. So eventually, we're going to we work with a couple of students on this. And eventually what we want, because the most difficult part what we see with our students is the communication between them and the client. They are very busy, and some members, they say, you know, I left him a voice message, you know, but in business owners they get 10 voice messages, so that doesn't work. So you have to build a relationship. So what we're going to offer is, we're going to the intermediate between the marketer and the business owners, and if we charge, let's say, 20% of, you know, of what you get from the business owners. But the only thing what you need to do is generate those calls, and we make sure the business owners pays you, and we make sure that everything stays in a nice you know, relationship. And on top of that, we're going to try to earn you as much as possible. The strategy, what I said, you pay per call, pay per invoice, and pay per month. That is where we're going to after it. So bottom line, you get paid well.
All right, perfect, man. I think that's awesome. Yeah, Melsina, definitely check it out. I've never heard anything like it, and Jack's a pretty straight shooter, you know, and if that's what he's put together, it's a very powerful offering, because that is the area that so many people suffer in. Now you can take his software, you can use our very simple system, and I don't want to say it's minting money, but with Jack's help on the front end, it makes it a heck of a lot easier. So, Jack, I assume that right now with the telemarketers, you can only purchase, somebody was asking, you can only purchase niches that are in your drop-down. They can't randomly make up other niches, right?
Correct. So, for example, dentists and car dealers, they take much more effort than $200, you know. So we cannot do that in the same way. So we are focusing on certain niches. So I know you might want to. Dentists is great to have. They pay good, and car dealers too. But there's much more than $200 to get those. But
yeah,
I think,
unrealistic to do that. You know,
yeah, but I think most of you guys don't want to start with car dealers. I know, Brian, you might think a little bit different. You need to get your feet wet with basic. You don't start Olympics before you crawl and when you run, you know. So start to get some clients, try to communicate, see how the traffic generates it, and then go after those high-paying niches where you're not only going to ask for can you do the lead generation, but also do your reputation, can you do the mobile website, can you do social media. So then they ask much more than in one simple element.
I like it. Jack, let me ask you, so Or you guys, let's just talk it through. Hang on a second, Jack. Keep that slide up there. So, if someone generated, was plumber one of yours?
Yeah.
So 55 valid calls for a plumber would pay how much? $35 each?
Yeah, we guarantee at least $35 per call.
So guys, 55 times 35, that's a lot of money. And yeah, that's great. So if you haven't thought about this, I mean, it's a cool packaging.
So you pay $47 down payment, and when we fulfill, you pay $147. That's how it works. And each call will be at least $35.
That works.
And we guarantee a client within a month. So, but it's probably in a week, but it depends a little bit, you know. Now around this time, I think it's a little bit harder to get within a week because those business owners are more busy with closing the year. Yeah, so I'm only offer at this moment on my call tracker users. So we can only handle that many fulfillment.
That's smart. Yeah, you guys, if you're on this call, you're probably a user, and if you have any problems finding clients, $200 is, man, that's a steal, because you can pair what we're doing with Jack's offer and just start minting $35 phone calls. Because you can cherry pick like the handyman niche. We did almost 600 calls in handyman in one of our markets last month. I didn't share that. It's not in the course, but when I saw that, I promise you, handyman generates a lot of phone calls. So, very cool, man. I'm glad you shared that. That was super neat.
So we are looking for to be your how do you say that, communication person. So you are the call generator, and we will handle all the communication with the client, and we charge you 20% for. I see the most people, when we sign up people, they want the client because they have a telemarketing charge. They are not good in converting to get new clients. So what you actually want, that if you have, you know, a good how do you say, fulfillment skill, but you don't have a good business relation skill, or you don't like to chase in business owner 5 times before you get them on the call, let us do it. And actually, you know, I help you with the fulfillment, but the telemarketer is doing the communication with the business, because my skill set is also the fulfillment. I don't like also not to call 5 times to get the business owners, but it is the reality. They are very busy. They are not waiting to get your call. They just want to help the clients and make money.
Oh, Jack, man, outstanding. I think anybody who hears this, even a replay later, this is one of the more powerful things I think I've seen in ages. So cool stuff, man.
So I drop one more time the link from Brian in the chat box if you haven't taken action yet. And I will work tomorrow, because it's getting late for me, to put the bonus on the Gmail training videos and the Google Analytics training. So that is what I'm so that's what I'm going to do tomorrow.
Well, listen, man, thanks for letting me come on the call, and honestly, I love that. My takeaway from that is I'm going to sign up for a couple and see how they work. Man, that sounds great. I don't know if you guys are even remotely on the fence. You got to admit, that is an attractive offer. And I don't think I've ever seen it anywhere.
No, that doesn't exist. But I ask almost every time to my members, I didn't do that today, how many clients do you have at the moment? and there's still quite a few who answer 0 or 1 or 2.
Mm-hmm.
So my energy and my time and my thought process is, how can I help you to get more members? And this is one of the solutions. I'm working on other solutions, but this is one where you can say, okay, Jack, I want to be in business. I'm stopped buying WSO for $200. I want to be in business.
I like it, man. It's good. I think everybody can relate to it. So nothing to add, man. Very cool. So I have a feeling a lot of people are glad they attended for that nugget alone. So very cool. Let's see if there's anybody else. We'll make sure we didn't miss anybody here. Hey, Doug. Doug Cameron says, great session. And Rick, well, Rick said we're both no-nonsense guys, and I appreciate that, Rick. Tampa Rick, Boy Scout, actually Cub Scout Rick, if I remember. But almost a crime to call you guys internet marketers. You know, the real crime is anybody who's slimy and abused the title, because all of us, everybody on this call is an internet marketer. Only in the silly world of product sellers are we not internet marketers and we're offliners. They're so silly because we are truly internet marketers. We're using the internet to generate revenue and results for real clients. So very, very cool. Okay.
Okay, so if you bought via my link, you can either send me support ticket at support@leadtrackerjack.com, or tomorrow also I will put a link in JVZoo, and you can go via that link to the bonus section. So tomorrow everything is set up, but I needed to have time which bonus I set up, and I thought when I felt about this bonus, I think that is what everybody can use. So no matter what you are or at, you need to be able to know how Gmail works and Google Analytics works. So as an internet marketer, those are the bases.
That's great. Good stuff, Jack. I love it. Well, man, if there's anything I can ever do, or I know Jack is always, how do I say it? Jack is always, man, Jack, you blew me away tonight, man. I've never thought about that offer with the telemarketers, and now I can't get it out of my mind. So I'm sure everybody else feels that way, and I'd strongly suggest that you take him up on it. So good stuff, man. Well, let me know if we can do anything else. There's no push. You guys can use Jack's link when it makes sense for you and try out our system or not. It's totally cool either way, and I'm sure we'll see you soon.
Okay. Thanks everybody for your feedback. I really appreciate it. And if you sign up, it's fine. If you don't sign up, it's either to me. At least go to my Facebook group and interact with each other about your questions, about your results, hooking up. I think at the end you will benefit so much from each other experience. So with that said, thank you for your time, and see you next week, same time. Thanks everybody.
Thanks everybody.